Hello and welcome to day 70 in this quest for a 2000 rapid chess rating on chess.com. So let's find an opponent and begin here. All right, will we have the white pieces or the black pieces? It looks like black. Oh, and we're playing against a 1673, so it should be an interesting game. All right, so they played d4, taking control of the center, and now c4. So we'll start kind of like we're going to set up a King's Indian, but I'll try and play the Grunfeld. So we'll go here, see what they do. All right, interesting move here. All right, well, that's a little different. They just grab space there. So let's go ahead and I guess support the center pawn there. I'm not sure what the best move might have been. Oh, okay, now it looks like they're going to push forward here. So let's go ahead and get ready to castle. We fianchetto and aim our bishop through the middle. All right, now, should we attack this knight or not? All right, that's the question. All right, let's just go ahead and attack. If I waste too much time here. All right, so they go ahead and give up the bishop pair. So that's interesting. All right. Let's see here. Well, we probably should develop this other knight. That seems like a decent move. Our bishop is a little trapped there, but we'll keep it there to protect this pawn. So, let's see. Is there any kind of little tactic against the king? If I were to go here, check, and if he blocks, well, let's just go ahead and do that. We'll go there, threaten an attack against his king. So if we check and he blocks, well, that doesn't really do much. We could check him, then he's kind of stuck there. All right, so do we want to do that? If we castle, or excuse me, not castle, but if we check the king and he goes here, we could attack. I don't know if we have a follow-up there. Oh, maybe we do. Let's take a little look at this. All right. So, will it work if we check? He blocks with his g-pawn, and we capture here. He captures our bishop. We check his king, and then where does he go? Then he could try and just start running here. We could go there. He could block with the queen maybe. Would we end up trapped? That is the question. All right, well, I may try and do this just to keep him from castling. All right, so I don't know if this is the best way forward, but we're about to find out. So we're checking him. All right, so now we could go here. If we check him, now we did create a weakness, but do we give up our bishop? So we capture. He captures, we check, then what does he do? if he starts trying to run, we could go there and pick this off. But will our queen be trapped? That is the question. All right, well, I mean, I don't know. We could go for it, make the game exciting, but I don't know if this is a wise sacrifice or not. We capture, he captures, we go with our queen checking, and this king's going to run to the queen side probably. Or does he move over? If he does that, we could give up our bishop. An attack. I don't know. It seems like our attack would fizzle out then. Seems kind of like our attack would just fizzle out. So I don't know. Now I'm just burning up way too much time. So if I capture, queen checks, but what does he do then? What does he do then? It looks like he can escape and cover everything, and I don't know if I'll get anything after that. If he runs and I go here, or he could just move here, and I don't even know if I have a follow-up then. I'm going to have to back up. At least we kind of messed his pawns up, but I don't know if that did much. All right, so now at least he's thinking a little bit. Okay, so now he's threatening to attack here. All right, well, okay. If we castle, he can capture, and pick off these pawns. So I don't know if I like that. What should we do? Well, do we bring our knight up? Okay, if he captures, sacrifices here, I capture, his queen checks us, then what do we do? All right, well, our queen, if we move this pawn, our queen could jump over here and help defend. So that might work. All right. Guess we will just... Should I move up here though? Maybe we do that. If we move up there, we can block his attack. I don't know, our king might end up pretty open there. All right, we'll just go that way. And just see what he does next. So if he sacrifices his bishop, we can just capture. His queen checks us. We block with our queen, protecting our bishop. But I don't know, our king will be kind of open there. So I don't know if I like that a whole lot. All right, so he decides to go that way. All right. Well, what is the best thing to do now? Develop our bishop, I guess. Now, if we go there, well, I don't know. Maybe we just develop our bishop up here. All right, we'll just go ahead and do that. See what they do next. Maybe I should have picked off this pawn, but I don't know. I didn't really want to open my king up when I'm not castled yet. And I have to watch out. About what I do with my queen. I don't want to block it because there's still this threat of attacking here. All right, so here he goes. He moves that. Okay. Well, what do we have? What do we have in this position? And we got to watch out because we're, like usual, we're just burning time. And we could get in time trouble. So, I mean, I could go here, threaten to pick off this pawn, but then he could have this attack right here, which could be serious. That could cause some problems. So if I go there, he just picks that off, so I don't like that. All right, man. This is kind of tricky here. I guess I could go up there. At worst, he'll just capture my knight and break my pawns up, but then I'll have an opening to his king side. All right. Okay. All right, now I can go there, kind of create a battery with my bishop, maybe go up here, attacking him. If he captures, I could either bring a pawn into the center, although, well, I don't know. That could be kind of rough because I'd end up with doubled up pawns here, especially if he captured here. All right. So what will he do here? What will he do? And should I castle? Now I could possibly just castle queenside. All right. Well, what to try here? Okay, so he blocks that attempt. He blocks that attempt. Okay. Well, let's see here. Should we aim our rook over there or should we castle? So this is a big turning point in the game that's going to probably make a big difference here. Well, we're just wasting time. We'll just go ahead and do that. Kind of close things up there. All right, now what do we want to do here? We're kind of stuck in the center, but he could try and open things up. And generally don't want to just be stuck out in the middle here. All right, now, okay, so he decides to do that. That's interesting. Well, might as well. Do we want to capture that or retreat? Probably just capture that. If his knight comes down into the position. Okay, so he's going that way. We'll just step back then. Oh, he trapped our bishop. Okay, so that's not good at all. He trapped our bishop. What can we do? What can we do? Not good at all. Not good at all. Okay. Well, let's... does that check even do anything? That is all right. I guess I moved too fast and overlooked that. Now we're in trouble. Now we are in trouble. So, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Do we just check the king? Do we have a follow-up after that? All right. Well, man. Not too good. Okay. Yeah, this is just a disaster. All right. What do we want to do here? Not good at all. Not good at all. Well, we might as well just castle that way then. And just hang in there. See if we can hold on. If we can just hold on. But we're definitely in trouble. Okay, so I need to capture that way. All right. Well, that just breaks apart the area around our king. So it's looking pretty rough. Looking pretty rough there. Okay, what could he do now? I mean, I guess he could try and come up here after my bishop. He could drop his knight in there, but then we could attack, but the knight could jump over this way. Well, it's not looking too good. Okay, so he goes after that. I guess we'll protect that. I don't know. It's looking rough. It's looking rough. Okay. Well, what should we try here? Okay. Well, I guess we might as well break this apart. But then if I take this, his queen might come down here attacking my queen, trying to trade. You know, then what do? Do I move here? Then his rook might try and come in the game. All right, well, we got to do that, and we're running out of time. So when you're behind in material, you want to try and trade off pieces. All right, well, that was a little different than what I was expecting. Okay. Well, now, do I check him? Could check the king. Could push this pawn forward, but he could just go forward. All right. So maybe I do that. Maybe I go here, push that forward. But then he could... all right, anyway, we're doing it. We need to get rid of the pawns. Get rid of the pawns. And might it have been a better move to check him? Then if his king moves here, he'd probably... Well, if he moved there, we could go there. He could have just blocked. All right, anyway. Let's see what he decides to do here. Anyway, now I'm just hanging on behind here by, what, 2 pawns worth of material. So it's not looking too good, but I guess I'll just hang in there, try and put up some resistance. So sometimes that's all you can do if you're in a losing position and you're just hanging in there. All right, so they moved forward. All right, well, that's interesting. So now I guess I should just move my king up there. But what is this knight going to do? What is this knight going to do? All right, do I move up here? Now, do I attack here? Now, I probably have to move my king, but do I check him? Does that give me anything? All right, we'll do that because we're running out of time and we just got to keep moving here. Now he's probably just going to push forward. Now he can pick off this pawn. Oh, well. He decides to push forward. All right, well, I guess I should take this knight and then pick off the pawn and have 2 passed pawns. All right, that may be my best option. I think he had a better move in that position. All right. Well, I shouldn't be giving up more material though. All right, we're just going to go ahead and do it. Oh man, I guess I overlooked that move. Oh, but now his king. Now his king is, I have a threat. If he picks off my bishop, then I can go after his... I can fork his rook. Yeah, now if he picks off my bishop, I can fork his king and rook. So I might be able to hang in there. I might be able to hang in there. All right, does he have any other tactic? Does he have any other crazy tactic? I don't know. I think we're good now. Now we might... we'll be able to get this pawn back, and we'll be able to keep our bishop, And then I think the game will be even again, maybe. Let's see. We'll have, or will we be ahead? We'll have 4 pawns to his 3, and we'll have our bishop. Now, if he picks off my bishop with his rook, and I check him, then I'll be able to pick this off. And then he might get me on the run, but I don't know. I think I'll be safe. All right, well, if I don't run out of time, I might be able to get back in this game. All right. Well, now they're really burning up a lot of time. So, I mean, what is their best move here? They could move this rook. Man, probably the best move is to go ahead and activate their knight, jump their knight into the position. Ooh, that could be dangerous. If they jump the knight to f3, threatening a fork here of the king and the queen. So if he doesn't take my bishop, I need to capture this pawn and then, maybe, okay, so he decides to do that. All right. Well, if we check him, or now do we just trade off pieces here and we just end up ahead? So that's probably what we want to do now, is just pick off this pawn with check, trade queens, and then we have this passed pawn. We'll have 3 passed pawns to their 1 if they can break through over here. All right, well, we should just pick that off, force him to trade queens. We'll go there. All right. Well, I guess we should we move our king up into the game, I guess. Okay, so he wants to go ahead and do that. Well, we need to protect that. We need to start pushing this pawn forward quickly. Quickly pushing this pawn forward. And try not to run out of time here. All right, what can this guy do now? That is not good, not good. He's threatening to attack us there. We have to watch out. Oh, and he's going to get our passed pawn. Crap. He's going to jump here, forking us. Sneaky son of a gun. Sneaky son of a gun. All he has to do is jump here, knight to c4. He's going to attack our pawn. Oh, he didn't do that. Okay. Well, we'll try that. Okay, well, that helped us. That definitely helped us. All right, what do we do now? Go like that. He's just going to grab another piece here. Okay, well, if we do that, now he's going to pick that off. We'll go there. What next? We'll go there. Oof. This is a tricky one. At least, okay, I'm back over a minute, so hopefully I can calm down a little bit. That probably threw him off here, because if he captures, we check his king, and then we pick this pawn off and we're behind his passed pawn. All right, so at least we got him thinking on this one. If he pushes forward, okay, so there we go ahead and we check. We pick this off. We're behind. Now what do we do? Well, let's push that forward. Try and get that passed pawn moving. Okay, so now what? Do we move up here? Right, we'll do that. All right. Now, we'll get behind him. Or do we just, we'll get behind him. Or should we get behind our passed pawn? We probably need to get behind our passed pawn. Start moving forward. All right, it's probably going to be a draw here. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think I needed to stay in front of my pawn. And let's see if he knows how to play this out. All right, yeah, it's a draw. It looked like he knew what he was doing. You know, if I tried to move forward, he would just stay in front of the pawn. And usually at a 16, a high 1600 level, he should know how to hold the draw there. All right, well, we only gained 2 rating points on that one, but I don't know, that's better than losing. So let's do a quick game review. Oh man, I had chances in that, but I guess with my time so low. But I don't know, I can't blame everything on time. I definitely had chances to win there. So let's see and chances to lose, of course. So they actually played better, 83.1 versus my 81.7. So yes, here I was definitely winning. I was losing up here, and I held on until I was winning, and then my opponent did a good job of holding a draw. So let's take a look at this. They had 7 great moves versus my 1, and then we each had 1 blunder. So let's see, they had 9 inaccuracies versus my 7, 5 mistakes versus my 3, but they only had 1 miss versus my 3 misses. So let's take a look here. All right, so the Grunfeld defense, and they played this a little bit differently by pushing the C pawn. So we'll definitely have to take a look at that. Now here it didn't like this. I don't know, started coming up with a plan to get an attack going here, but it probably wasn't a good plan. And the computer doesn't like this move. The game is still close to equal, but I lost my advantage. So here instead, I should have just pushed in the center. Yeah, I could see why that would be a good move. I threatened to capture here. The pawn would recapture. I'm ready to castle. But my opponent is, kind of out in the open with his king. Well, I mean, I guess he could move his queen and castle queen side, but the king side castling would be a little more difficult. All right. So next, let's see. It didn't even say much about that attack over there. All right, and it didn't like this. It says, you allowed the opponent to force doubled pawns. So best would have been to move my knight back. So it didn't like that move. I thought, well, if he captured my knight and doubled my pawns, I could get an attack going on the king, which I guess that did happen later on, but it was pretty sloppy though. Okay, so now g5, a mistake. Best would have been what? To just bring my queen over and centralize. And then my knight could swing back into here, I guess. All right, well, it looks like that is what I should have done. And that keeps an eye on, it kind of prevents white from being able to push his H-pawn and start attacking over here. All right, so that was not the right move. I thought for sure I had to play that move. Oh, I should have taken that knight, I bet. Yeah, I should have just picked that knight. Well, I don't know. If I pick that knight off, or maybe I should have checked the king. Well, let's see. Oh, man. I did not expect that. It says I should just capture that pawn. Capture the pawn. Then the knight could capture here, attacking my rook. And then what do I do? Attack the knight with a rook? Well, another thing to look at in the analysis. All right. Let's move on here. Okay, so that was a great move. Now your opponent can't stop you from winning a pawn if you make the right moves. Okay, so... Oh, they had a blunder. And apparently... Well, maybe I took advantage of it. Well, it looks like it. So it says that's the best move. Let me go back. Check out. So that was the blunder. This loses a pawn. So we played the best move against it. That was an excellent move, but I guess not the best move. So our best move was to capture and trade off queens. All right, so we just trade off. And then I let him get me in trouble with those knights, and this wasn't a great move. This was not good. So better would have been, oh man, probably just to move this rook up to b6. No, to give up this pawn. Oh, there's a tactic. Well, I don't know, because he could go here, checking me. And then what do? I would have to move or block. I would just have to block like this. He could take, and then he would get this anyway. But I would have two central passed pawns, I guess, which are strong. All right, more stuff to look at in the end game. Well, I mean in the analysis, which I'll do after this. So I'll just blast through these moves here. All right. All right, so I guess the game, it should have been a draw. So, all right. Well, earlier I had a chance, and I guess I let it fizzle out on me. You had a pretty competitive game there. The opening was balanced. The middle game battle was fairly even. Although you played a great end game, your opponent did even better. So they played at 1850, so good job by my opponent. I played at 1800. In the opening, they only played 82.5 versus 86.1 for me. The middle game, 68.5 versus 71.4. But in the end game, they played 95.7 versus my 88.8. So once again, the end game really makes a difference in a lot of games. So make sure you study those end games and brush up on all of that. Okay, so let's see here. We will take a look at the analysis now. So, Sorry about that. I should have hit analysis instead of getting off of this screen. Okay, so let's take a look here. d4, knight to f6. So instead of playing d5 with a symmetrical game, we kind of play knight to f6 to see what the opponent will do. They could push forward. Well, they can't push forward yet with e4, or we just snatch a pawn. So what they want to do to be able to push this e pawn is play knight to c3. But it's usually a better idea to play this c pawn out first and bring the knight in behind it. Because if you can't bring in, or excuse me, if you can't develop both of your central pawns, then the next best thing is to develop one of them and the pawn beside it here. So the c and d pawns control a lot of real estate here. So we play g6 so we can fianchetto here and get our king castle to safety pretty quickly. Although this game kind of took another direction. So now they play this move, and now they are threatening to play e4 and just grab a big piece of the center with all three of these pawns taking control here. So instead of playing the King's Indian defense, which is what we're heading to, where you could bring your bishop here to g7, you could play this d6 pawn here to help slow down the advance of these pawns, and then you could castle. Instead of doing that, we go into the Grunfeld. So with the Grunfeld defense, you play d5, stopping the e pawn from developing here. And normally they could capture the more valuable d pawn with this less valuable flank pawn, but it allows you to recapture with the knight. And if they bring their other pawn into the center, then you can capture their knight, and then they would recapture. So they would have a strong central pawn formation, but you've traded off some material, giving you a little bit more room in your cramped position. And since they push their pawns forward, that's one less piece that they have to help defend their pawns, and you can start targeting those central pawns. All right, so now here they played c5. So, here the computer is saying it's better to capture the d pawn, but they played that move, which is an inaccuracy. So this keeps the game in black's favor, but because generally you don't want to move a pawn twice in the opening. So they probably did that just to throw me off and see what I would do. That way I'm not playing normal opening moves. So now the best move here instead would be just to capture. So then this is what I was talking about. You recapture. They would play e4, or they could wait and just play knight to f3. But here, they just go ahead and attack you. And then black's best move would be to go ahead and capture there. Then they capture with the pawn. And they have this nice, strong pawn formation here. And you could just go ahead and fianchetto, and then you're ready to castle. So let's say, I don't know, maybe we'll do the best move recommended by the computer, knight to f3. So now the recommendation before castling is to just immediately attack the center. So they have to make a decision on what to do here. They don't want to capture, or you could capture the c pawn, forking their king and their rook here. So they have to figure out how to deal with this. Do they just ignore it? It looks like the best moves are either bishop to b5 check, according to the computer, or even rook to b1, getting out of the line of fire of this bishop. Or they could even play maybe bishop to e3 to help guard this pawn that's under attack. All right. Well, back to the game. They pushed with c5. So this gives them more space on the queen side here. but it relieves the tension, and now they don't have the option to capture this valuable pawn with the less valuable c pawn. So here looks like the best options are either c6, defending the pawn, bishop to g7, so I'm ready to castle, or even knight at b to d7 here. All right, so I played that move. The computer says that's excellent, but it's saying I should probably just develop my bishop there. And then they played f3. So the computer now is saying that's an inaccuracy. Well, the one good thing about that, it'll fortify a push with this e pawn. Now it'll be backed up by their f pawn, but that does create a weakness on their king side, especially with the king just stuck in the middle here still. So let's see what the computer recommends here. It looks like the preferred move is an immediate bishop to g5, attacking your knight. And now the computer recommends just ignoring that and playing b6 and attacking these pawns here. So, pretty interesting. So let's take a look. If that's what they recommend, bishop to g5, the computer's saying that's best. And then I would probably just immediately play this, bishop to g7. So bishop to g, yeah, that's probably what I would play there. The computer wants b6 here, which, I don't know, that's an interesting move. They could push their b pawn and just fortify, I guess. Or maybe they would ignore me and just capture my knight, forcing me to double my pawns here. All right, anyway, before we dig too deep into that, f3 was played, and now bishop to g7. So the computer says that's best. You just get ready to castle here. And now we have bishop to g5. So they do play that. And we go with, let's see, how did we respond? h6, which is one of the best moves, although the computer wants us to castle immediately. But if I would have went ahead and castled, they could bring their queen up here, and threaten to trade off my bishop, leaving a weakness here. And then they could start pushing this h pawn, trying to break things open, and get a little attack going. I mean, I guess I could try and bring my queen over. I don't know, that might be a little bit difficult. If I could find a way to get my queen in here to help support these weakened dark squares, once my dark squared bishop would be traded. But anyway, in the game, we chase their bishop. So instead of retreating, they attack the knight. They capture our knight. The computer says that's an inaccuracy, that it would have been better to keep your bishop pair, especially now that the bishop could retreat back here since this opening has been made. So now the recommendation is just, for us to go ahead and castle once again, which, is probably what I should have done. I guess I was worrying about a pawn storm coming up here if I castled kingside. So, yeah, if they played that, well, the computer recommends castling, and then, e3, I guess not e4, because you don't want to open things up while your king is stuck in the center. So, in the game, they capture. We capture with the bishop, avoiding doubled pawns. Although, I don't know, doubled pawns might not have been so bad here, because we could open up a line to the king that's stuck in the middle, and we could try and push this pawn up here and get a lockdown on e4. So that's a possibility, or even leave the pawn there to guard e5. But In the game, our bishop captures, and the computer says that's best. Let's see what the difference is between those two. They're about even. So either way, e takes f6 is not bad either. So now e3 is or actually that's what they played, was e3, the second best move. So e3, the computer wants f4 instead, which, I don't know, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I guess that lets you bring your knight up here. But the whole point of going to f3 was probably to be able to push to e4 with the e pawn. So if they played that, the recommendation is for us to play, oh man, g5. Well, that's interesting. g5 or b6. Yeah, I don't know. g5, I mean, they could either capture and then we could capture towards the center maybe, or do we want to bring our bishop up and capture, but then they could attack with the h-pawn, driving our bishop back. I don't know. Tricky stuff here. So anyway, let's look at what happened in the game. They played e3. So then we follow up with b6 is the recommended move, or even an immediate e5. What did we play? This move, a mistake. Queen to c7. Black is still ahead here, but lost most of the advantage. So it looks like it would have been better to immediately attack those pawns in the center with e5 here. So e5, then, man, once again it says f4 is the best move, and then here we should take d4 or f4. I mean, it doesn't matter here, I guess, because either way it's going to end up the same when this pawn recaptures, but the computer says it's a little better to go that way. And then, they're going to capture, but now they're open there, and it looks like instead of castling, b6 is recommended. And then once they capture, which is their best option, we should capture with our queen attacking here immediately. But I don't know. They could just jump their knight in here, protecting and attacking. Does that even work? Because then we have a check possible right here. Their knight would have to jump back, or they could block with the, well, if they blocked with the queen, we'd pick their knight off. So, oh, and now we're doubling up on this. Okay, so they would have to play knight to f3 to protect this pawn too. So we're forking two pawns. They would protect here, and now the second best move is to go ahead and capture here. The best move is, oh, bishop to g4, pinning that knight to the queen. Man, so yeah, this is an interesting line. Then they could break it like that. Then we should go ahead and pick that off. They capture, and now bishop takes d4. So we keep the pressure on the b pawn. We're threatening to attack, well, capture their knight with check. We prevent them from castling kingside. So I don't know, that's an interesting variation there. So instead we played queen to c7, a mistake, but black is still slightly ahead. So they missed their opportunity. The best move is f4, but they play the second best move, bishop to d3. So we play, well, let's take a look at their best move. Looks like f4 would be their best move. f4, just helping control the center here. And now b6 once again, or just castling kingside. Okay, well, after bishop to d3, we play bishop to h4 check, which is not, that was a miss. Our best move was e5 once again. So once again, we should have played this e5 move, trying to break open the center. So now we tried to get this attack going. They block. All right, so I almost thought about capturing, but it just didn't look good enough, the follow-up to it. So good thing I did not follow through with that plan, because if I would have captured, it's showing that white would go ahead by plus 1.63. The best move is just to retreat back. So I guess I found the best move. Black is still ahead. And f4 once again is the best move. But my opponent is not playing that. They play this move, which is an inaccuracy. f4 to prevent me from playing e5 is best. And if they play that, I should just go ahead and start attacking over here. So this is an interesting, the computer is giving us interesting examples of how to attack. So if they lock up the center, then we attack on the wing here with our pawns. Because now we can't play e4 or they'll just capture and get a pawn, so we can't do that anymore. But before that f4 move, that apparently is how I should have played e4 and tried to open things up. Okay, so in the game, we had queen to c2 instead. And the threat here, I guess, well, is it really a threat? I guess it's if I castle, then they could pick off this pawn. I capture their bishop. Their queen captures with check. But still, I could retreat this bishop and guard this pawn. It would leave a big gap, a big opening there in front of my king. So let's see what the computer recommends. Once again, it wanted that f4 move for white. So we played, I think, did we finally play e5? Finally! We finally played e5, but we just didn't follow it up right, I don't think. So was that that was the best move according to the computer. And now castling queenside by white is best. Okay, and so my opponent found that move. All right, and we should castle kingside because, if he sacrifices his bishop and checks us after we castle, we can block. Well, now we can block with our queen. So, yeah, it looks like we should. But I don't know. Opposite side castling can be dangerous because if I castle on the king side, they're castled on the queen side. Now they can throw all these pawns at me. Now, of course, I can do the same over here. So I don't know. It's just a really two-sided game. If you castle on opposite sides, it can get really crazy. And I guess I wanted to avoid that, but it looks like that's probably what I should have done according to the computer. The other option is queen to e7. Which I think now it's saying that's what I should have played. I played bishop to e6, another inaccuracy. Now it's saying knight to d7. So should I have done that? I didn't want to block the path of my queen, though. It says it likes that. I mean, what if they did this now? Boom, boom. I capture their bishop. Their queen checks me. My king has to move now and can't castle anymore. My bishop's protected by this knight now, so I guess that's okay. But my king's going to be stuck in an open king side here. All right, anyway, let's take a look. They castled there. I should have castled kingside, but instead I played an inaccuracy developing my bishop. And, what is that bishop really doing there? I don't know. Not much. It's aimed at the king's or the queen side over here, but it's blocked by my pawn. So now we have knight at g to e2, just developing their other knight is looking like the best move. But they retreat back this way. A mistake. So best would have been to develop the other knight. And then we should play queen to e7. Centralizing our queen. Okay. All right, it's showing at this point, black is still ahead. So after this, it looks like they want queen to e7. And now g4. They start running their pawns forward. Okay. And then it recommends that we just develop our knight here. And then we can start throwing our pawns, I guess, up towards his king. And then we can either stay in the middle or castle. All right, in the game, the knight retreats back. What is this knight doing? Well, I guess he wants to maybe capture here and then jump up here or here and attack. So we play this, a miss. The best move was knight to d7. And then it looks like g4 is best. Just start pushing the pawns. And then we should push our pawns over here. Okay, in the game, we had knight to a6. They played a3, preventing this fork of the queen and the bishop. But it looks like it would have been better to just go ahead and capture. Double my pawns up. Which, I don't know. I wasn't too worried about that. Black would still be ahead here. And now I'd have an opening in towards his king side. It's showing h4 as being best. But now we could castle or we could put a rook here on this half open file. So in the game, they played a3 to kind of slow things down, keep my knight away. And now, what did I play? Queen to d7. Kind of a garbage move, which was a mistake here. Now white is ahead. So, oh, wait, let me go back here. So knight to b8 or... Oh, actually, rook to b8 would have been better. Rook to b8. So just getting ready if they do capture this. And then h4, once again, is recommended for white by the computer. All right, so queen to d7 was played. Not a good move. They played g4, which computer says is an inaccuracy. Better would have been what? Bishop takes our knight here, but they end up doing that. So now we played g5, and that was not good. Queen to e7. Looks like that's the best move, which stops this pawn from coming to h4. It kind of slows things down over here on the king side. Any kind of pawn storm. All right, so now, let's see. In the game, we played g5, which is not good. They played well, hold on a minute. I'm misreading. They attack here. So the best move, they find the best move, capturing the pawn. So we recapture. Oh, and it doesn't like that. It says we should not have done that. We should have retreated. So that's interesting. It's saying white is really ahead here now. And our best move is to retreat that bishop. So to here. And then what? H3, H5 to start breaking things up. But that would just give away that pawn for now anyway. I mean, I guess these pawns are kind of weak here. So let's see what they recommend further here. H5. They should play F4. And then we should capture. Oh, now it's saying they should have just captured that, because now if we capture, they can't capture, or we pick off the rook. So anyway, this is the kind of a line the computer was looking at. So we just go ahead and capture. But now you have bishop takes A6 here. Let's see. Oh no, they played F4. F4. Huh. Now we see why this is a mistake here. Because they push attacking. So what do? The best move is to retreat, but our bishop is going to be trapped. So, the best move is just to retreat back to F6 and just let our bishop be trapped. So instead we captured. I mean, I thought if I'm going to go behind in material, I better trade off some pawns. And now they capture, once again attacking us. The best move is what? Queen to E7 here. Okay, that would really break their pawns up, and from E7 we can check the king and then pick off this pawn. Okay. Huh. Alright, so that's an interesting move. Just play queen to E7 here. It's showing, that they should pick off our knight with that. And that we should retreat and keep the bishop pair. Okay, back to the game. E takes F4. We retreat, but we should have gone further. But now our bishop is trapped. So the best move is to ignore that, which I thought about, and just move this knight here. Knight to C7. And then, oh, they don't even recommend capturing. That's pretty crazy. They don't even recommend, well, the bishop's not going anywhere, so that makes sense. Knight to F3, just develop another piece. And then we should castle queenside. So we castle queenside. And then finally, they could go ahead and capture our bishop if they want. Or they could just play rook at H to E1 and just put this rook, their other rook, on the open file. So yeah, this would have been bad for me. I mean, it was already bad. So in the game, we have a trapped bishop. What did I do? I went ahead and castled queenside. It says I should have castled kingside. Man, that's when you know the game is going bad, when your options don't look good. So they capture. It looks like they should have captured the knight. So what do we do here? I capture with the pawn, and that is the move that they like best. Oh, you don't want to capture with the queen, or the bishop will pin your queen to the king. So we pretty much had to capture that way. They just start getting rid of material. So we capture. And now we played queen to what? Or, well, it's their turn, sorry. They played queen to D3, an inaccuracy. The best move would have been king to B1. So, That's interesting. King to b1. Okay. King to b1. So let's go back and look at that. With king to b1, well, now it's not even saying that's the best move. But if we go there, let's see. Well, here it's saying it's the best. King to b1. And then we should play king. Oh, man. King to b7. I don't know if I like that move. But they all look bad. Let's see here. In the game, queen to d3. We follow up with queen to b7. An inaccuracy. Now it's plus 3.4 advantage to white. So it's looking awful here. It wanted king to b7, the computer. So in the game, it continues with b4. Just protecting, because we were threatening a mate up here, which was easy to see. But I thought, oh, maybe I'll move my queen and protect here, and maybe I'd get lucky and he wouldn't notice that there's a mate threat. But of course he did. So we go up here, or excuse me, they go up here and move this pawn, protecting and blocking the attack. So computer didn't like that. It said knight to d4 would have been better. Just playing that. Developing a piece, threatening to attack here. And the best thing to do would be to go ahead and capture. And then you're just really starting to run out of options at that point. So b4 was played. We attack. If they capture, we still have that mate threat. So now the queen moves over here. That's a mistake. Knight to b3, just developing a piece would have been better. But now we have rook at h to f8, threatening, well, maybe putting pressure on that. But I don't know. It was looking rough. They made this mistake. So now our best option is to just trade off more pawns. So we go ahead and do that. Although now it wants rook at h to g8 to target this, which I thought about that, but then they could just play h3 and protect the pawn, I guess. So now they capture. Computer's saying that's best. And here a5 was played. Looks like queen to a6 would have been a better move. To move up here and maybe threaten some little attack on the king. And the queen could maybe zip over here at some point. All right, in the game, we played a5. Computer says that's still an excellent move. It's plus 1.3 for white still. They should play knight to f3. But in the game, they played knight to d4, blocking the path of my bishop. So I play, and they're attacking this pawn here, so I just move my king up and protect. But it looks like e5 would have been the best move here. Just attacking that way. e5, and then knight to f5. Oh, threatening to fork my king and queen here. So here I would have to play... What? It's telling me to ignore that? No way. It's saying I should do that. And then let them fork me. What? Okay, well, the rook can capture, I guess. So I guess that's what they wanted. Rook would capture. Pawn captures. And now, what? Queen to a6. Huh. So why would you give up this pawn? And why wouldn't they want to try and take it? Um, I guess there's a threat of an attack. So if they capture, well then what do you have? Rook to h7, threatening to swing over here and get some attacks going on their king. If they play that, you just pick this off. Queen to f8 check. The bishop has to block. King up to d2, and they have a really wide open king. So anyway, in the game we have knight to d4. I'm gonna turn the light on, it's starting to get dark. All right, so let's finish this up. Knight to d4, blocking the bishop scope, and now king to d7. And we saw that I should have attacked their knight, but I moved my king up. That's a miss. But they make a mistake with b5 here. Better would have been to develop their other knight. So they should have just brought their other knight out. You know, they have an extra piece. They need to use it. They need to activate these other pieces, and then I would have really been in trouble. So if they did that, now it's saying I should just go ahead and capture here. You know, but you know, is that really a great move? Because I'm behind in material and giving up my queen now. So they would capture, I would capture, and then at this point they would be up, what, by 1 pawn's worth of material? I mean, I have this passed pawn and this one. So, rook at h to e1. Now they're putting pressure on this. I would have to protect that. Their knight jumps in to check me. Oh, and they're attacking this. So the best move is to capture. But now the rook is going to capture. And then rook to a8. So finally we move over here. And see, I'm just running out of material. They have a pawn majority over here. I do have these passed pawns, but I don't know if that's enough. The king could just move up here and start targeting my passed pawn now. All right, so in the game, b5 was played, which is a mistake. And so I capture here. The computer says that is a great move. So I capture their knight. They should immediately capture with their rook, which is what I thought they were going to do. So if they capture with their rook, now what? I'm just starting to run out of material. So queen takes b5 looks to be the best move. Now they would go ahead and trade off because they're ahead in material. They want to get rid of pieces. So I have this strong pawn majority here, and that can make a difference. And I'm getting ready to go up here and pick this off. So finally, they would develop their knight. My king should jump up here to c6 and target that. So we go up here, either knight d5 check or rook back to d2, where it can swing over and start targeting things. So it's saying that's the best move, is to back up, then you can swing over and start attacking. King would capture. So at this point, material would be even. We would have 3 pawns for their knight. So anyway, I guess the game could have gone like that. But in the game, after I captured this knight on d4, they make a blunder. They capture this pawn. So the best move, of course, is to move your queen and take care of the checking pawn like this. And their best option is to capture my bishop with rook takes d4, but then I would just be ahead in material then, because if they played this, I would go here, check. They would play what? Queen. Queen to c4. What? That looks crazy. Oh, I see. You can't. There's a pin on the pawn. Okay, so that makes sense. Queen to c4. I would capture. Now they would capture, but then I just recapture, and we would just be ahead by +4. We have a rook versus their knight, and we have 2 extra pawns, and that would have been enough to win. Although what they did in the game, we had enough to win, but let's see why we didn't, why I wasn't able to pull out the win. All right, so let's go back here, back to the blunder. This was a blunder because we just picked this pawn off, and what should they have done there? Captured right away. So what did I think they were going to do? Yeah, I guess I thought that's what they were going to do, was capture. So if they captured, with rook takes, and then if we capture, they capture. Let's see, capture. All right, so we already took a look at this. The game would be, let's see, they would still be ahead by 1, but we would be able to pick this pawn off and even the game up. All right, so after their blunder, they capture. Best move is for the queen to capture. And now, now it's saying knight to f3, attacking our bishop would have been better. And that's kind of what I thought they were going to do in the game. Let's take a look at that. Knight to f3, attacking, attacking our bishop. But, it's saying the second best move is just to retreat here. Now, why wouldn't we just go here? Pick off this pawn. Well, we want to keep our queen because his king is kind of open. Oh, and if we did that, no, well, he would be in check, so he would have to deal with that. It's saying rook to b8, attacking their queen would be a better move. Man, yeah, this is tricky stuff here. What if we just did that? Well, black is still ahead, but it doesn't like that as much because now the king can move. King doesn't want to go this way, or we pin their queen to their king, so the king would have to come out this way. But now the knight is still threatening to attack us. What do we have now? Bishop. What? Bishop to b2? That's pretty crazy. We go here, bishop to b2. If they pick that off, we can check their king and then pick their knight off, I guess. Oh, but they have... No, they can't check us because our bishop could come back and capture. But they do have this check down here. So, I don't know. That's pretty... And this check down here. So, that's really dangerous. In the game, they moved down here. So, what did we do? The best move is actually bishop to e3 check. So bishop to e3 check, king up to c2, and queen to a4 check. Oh man, yeah, I should have taken a look at all that, but I'm at this point I only had a minute on the clock. So now queen to b3 blocking. But we can, it recommends we just capture here, saying that's best. Second best is to check over from this direction. But they could block that. All right. Well, it's saying to just go ahead and capture. Their king would capture. And now our rook could come out like this. You think the king might want to go after this, possibly. All right. I'm just going to go through the rest of this because otherwise this video, it's already dragging along like they usually do. So we trade off queens here. I capture. Knight develops. What is best here? Looks like king to d6 was the best move, so I found that. And now we have, and maybe I was wondering if it would have been better to retreat the bishop, but probably not. So now we have knight to d2. Is that the best move? Knight to f3 is played. Oh, no. What was I looking at? That was the previous move. So rook at h to e1. Getting ready to pile up on this pawn. So now, let's see. Rook to b8 is best. Now it's saying rook to c8, which, yeah, that would have been a good move to just go ahead and threaten a discovered attack. All right, so knight to e5. And the computer says that's an excellent move. Black is winning at this point until we play rook to e7. Not good. An inaccuracy. Well, we're still winning at this point, but rook to c8 would have been better. So it wants this move, which threatens a discovered attack on the king. And then it recommends that the king goes to b1. And then we would just go ahead, check, then king up to a2, where he might be thinking about going after our passed pawn. And here we should play rook to b4 to activate this rook, and we're attacking this pawn. So, man, tricky stuff going on once those knights get involved. So rook to e7 was played. They played knight to d3. An inaccuracy. Knight to c4 would have been better. So let's look at knight. And this is what I thought he might play in the game. Knight to c4. Because I can't capture, the rook's pinning the pawn, and then he could pick off my passed pawn. So that is what I thought he was going to play in the game. And here the best move is what? To go there. And then he's just going to capture. And then what? It says to go back to d7. And then we have knight to b3 attacking our bishop. Bishop to a3 check is recommended. All right, back in the game. We had this retreat threatening to pick off my bishop. The best thing here is bishop to d4. Oh, bring this bishop around on this side and help my pawn to try and promote. So in the game, I played that, and it says this is still good, but he picks that off, which is best. And now my lead is smaller, so I capture, and it's like, what, plus, or it's not as big as it was. So now I'm only ahead by what? Well, 2 pawns. And that should still be enough to try and get a win here. But I guess I just misplayed it. So he goes after my passed pawn. Here, what should I play? Rook to a8. I should activate my rooks. Instead, I play passively and get in trouble trying to guard like that. So better would have been, oh yeah, I needed to control this open file. That was a mistake not doing that. So better would have been what? Rook to A8, taking control of that. And then they recommend H4, getting ready to push their pawn majority. And here we should play rook at E to A7, doubling our rooks here. You know, threatening to start attacking the king. All right, well, you know, with 30 seconds on the clock, it's difficult to find those moves. So we go here. The king moves up. This is a mistake. Rook at A1 immediately would have been better. So, you know, taking control of that open file, threatening to start attacking my king. So now, let's see. What is best? After king to B3, here we played E5. But once again, we needed to take control of this A file. So they get there first, which is going to cause us a problem, and we play a blunder here. So the best move is rook to B6. That would have helped block everything. If they would have moved here and attacked our pawn, we could swing over here, double up and protect. You know, if he tries to double up on this, we can start trying to push. We'll have to watch out for their pawn majority, but that would have been a lot better to block there. King safety. So always remember your king safety. I overlooked it here, and sure enough, I get in trouble with that. Then the best thing to do is block here. They capture, I capture, but now they pick this off. So looks like rook to G8 is the best move here. Let's see, what did I play? Now it's saying this is the best move. Okay, he attacks that. I go ahead and counterattack. What's the best move? Rook to G8. Well, it's saying that's the best move. Now it's saying D4 would have been better to start pushing that passed pawn. All right. I push. Did I have something better? It's saying H5 is best right now, but it wanted D4. D4. I don't know. That looks really tough to play that. That he would end up with two passed pawns over there, like connected passed pawns. So, all right. So we play this. Check. King moves. We pick that off. Now we're eyeing his passed pawn. You know, it's always good to bring your rooks behind passed pawns, whether they're yours or your opponent's. So they push forward, but we're keeping an eye on it with our rook. Now we have B3, but D4 would have been better. Yeah, we shouldn't have pushed this pawn because it lets the king go out around. Well, I don't know if he's going to do that, but B3 is just an inaccuracy. Now the game is a draw. So D4 would have been better. So D4, it recommends king to C2, keeping an eye on these pawns. But now we can just step back. It's recommending we just drop back here. Then the king comes into the center. But now we can push. Well, it doesn't even like that. Now it wants what? Rook to H5 to protect. But it's saying that is wrong. So let's look at b3. Delete that move and play b3. So we start pushing our passed pawn. But we have that move. And now king up to b4. Rook to e6, where they can get behind us. King to c5, protecting this pawn. But back to e5. And then b4. Could end up a draw going back and forth. But I don't know. This is a dangerous pawn getting ready to push forward here. But, you know, this is dangerous as well. So I don't know. It's kind of drawish here. All right. So h6 was played in the game. We pushed our pawn too early. They move away, which is the best move in the position. We bring our king up, which is best to protect our pawn. But they go ahead and find the best move of checking us. And now we move in front of this pawn. They push. And best thing to do is to knock that out of there. But now they're able to capture that. And what would be best here? Rook to h3, check. Rook to h3, check. So, but now it's saying this is best, getting behind the passed pawn. The king finds the best move, moving up here in front of my king. Now what? What do we do next? Rook to a7. It says that that is best. Rook to a7. Huh. All right, we played that, but they wanted rook to a7. So what does that do? Rook to a7. And I don't know, from here it's saying it's a draw, that there's no way to win. But this stuff can get tricky with these rook endgames. They recommend just going here. Now, what? Rook to a1. Says rook to a2 would have been even better. Anyway, it's just going to be a bunch of maneuvering. So the game ends with my king coming out. I start trying to push my pawn. We have a check. I go back behind here. The rook drops back. Now what can I do? I push up. He checks me. I come back. His king comes forward. I come up and check. He puts the pressure on here, so I go there, check. Then I just block, capture, capture. And here, he retreats straight back, which is what you want to do when you're defending this position. Because as soon as my king comes up, he should jump over here to c2 to stop me. So he does that. Now I push the pawn. He should get right in front of the pawn, forcing me to get behind my pawn and protect it. He steps straight back. And now if I go forward, he should just get in front. So I played some other moves just to see what he would do. You know, I kind of move around. And here I just play this to see if he'll mess up. But, if I would have pushed forward, it probably would have ended in a draw. Okay. Well, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for those that haven't already. Feel free to leave comments, suggestions, or any requests if there's some type of chess video you'd like to see in the future. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.